We are finally back to finishing this greenhouse. Not even finishing the thing, pouring the concrete. It has been months that we've been sitting on this thing trying to get somebody out to pour concrete. I finally called one last time and they are coming today, just like that. So we're getting concrete here in like 30 minutes. They're supposed to show up. I gotta move some stuff out of their way so they can actually do this job. So we're gonna get on that. We're about to move this chicken coop out of the way. The one thing I learned from last time is that there is no good way to do this. We're just gonna hook onto it and drag it. I put some boards around the feet so hopefully they don't break off, but we're just gonna pull the thing with the truck and hope that it doesn't break. And then I'll fix it after if it does. Concrete guy said he's about 10 minutes away, about 5 minutes ago. So we're just gonna wait for him to show up and see what else we gotta move. Chicken coop moved decent. Almost lost one leg, but it survived, so we're good. No, blew out right there. Dang it. Thought we were doing so dang good.
You got the first.
Been a few hours since we poured this concrete. I'm not sure how much of it you actually saw. I'll have to go back and review the footage because my battery died. But I got it all poured. I got it all screeded off. I know the camera was off for that. I didn't have time because my battery was dead, but I had to get it worked. So we worked it. It's been sitting for a few hours now. I'm just coming back to check on it. I think it looks mighty fine myself. I didn't trowel the top because I don't have a trowel, but it did screed out pretty nice. I mean, I troweled it with a 2x4. This is really my first time ever working anything concrete of substantial size. This isn't even that big of a job, but I've never done any kind of concrete work of anything other than like putting a fence post in. So I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It's going to have to sit here for quite a few days to fully cure, especially with the cold we've got. Tonight it's not supposed to freeze. It might freeze possibly the next night, and then we're going to get into some really cool temperatures for a while. So the curing time is going to be a little bit longer than it would otherwise be. But within a week or two, we can get out here and start putting some walls up on top of this and see if we can get this thing kind of framed in and get the chickens under some cover before it starts snowing. Everything with the pour itself went great, except for this one edge. We did have it blow out just a little bit, so we had to quickly push the forms back in, pound some posts into it. But other than that, it went excellent. Didn't have any problems, but I mean, it made a little bit of a mess on this one side, but it'll work out just fine. It's gonna be mostly underground anyway. You'll see an uneven edge there when it's all when I pull the forms off, but it's not going to matter because I'm literally just going to bury that in dirt. So not really worried about it. I think it's going to look great and it's going to be pretty dang hefty for what we're doing with it. As far as like an actual foundation, like if we were putting like a real building on top of this, probably not the best, but for a little greenhouse that we're doing, gonna be pretty darn hefty, and I think it's gonna stand up for a long, long time. Our next step is to pull these forms off. I'll do that before this video is over, so don't go anywhere just yet, but we do gotta wait probably a week's time before I get to it. At least it'll be till like 4 or 5 days, till we have a weekend, but that is our next step. So hang tight, we'll get there in just a second. This concrete has been sitting for 4 days now, so we are going to pull these forms off today, see how everything turned out. Before we can do that, I got to feed these cows. Before I can feed these cows, I got to move that trailer. And before I can move that trailer, I got to get that pickup out. So we're going to do a few things before we get these forms pulled off, but that's the plan today. So move this stuff around real quick and then get into those forms. All right, we got everything moved around. We are ready to start getting these forms pulled off. First thing we're gonna do is get rid of this fence. It has been here to keep the chickens out of it for the last several months, but we don't really care if they go in the garden now because we're not growing anything in there. And they're eventually gonna be in this greenhouse for the winter, hopefully. So we're gonna pull this fence off and then we'll start pulling forms off. Probably have to dig out the bottom of it, they're all buried.
No, put the hammer in. Good deal. Put it over there.
These guys are still attached down at the end.
Oh yeah. What this side? Let's get this side off.
Those forms came off pretty easy. It was actually easier than I anticipated. It looks really good. The only spot that's a little off is that one spot where it blew out. It actually did it in 3 separate spots, but the other 2 weren't as big as this one. We got this one fixed, so it looks about the same as the other ones did, but it just bowed out a little bit at the bottom, but it looks great. Now that we've got these forms all pulled off, this concrete looks wonderful. I'm going to break down these forms that we used. We're actually going to use the 2x4s off of that, hopefully, to build a lot of this greenhouse. So we're going to start breaking these forms down. We'll see what these boards look like. As far as the concrete itself goes, we're going to not say round, but we're going to build up on the sides, the dirt up to the outside edge. The middle of this is going to be filled mostly with wood chips. We'll put the wood chips in here. I don't plan on growing anything actually in the ground in this greenhouse. We'll grow it in pots, and then we'll let the chickens and the ducks roam, and they'll turn a lot of those wood chips into compost that we'll then later put in the garden.